tough watch.
You were asked the question about the fling, and you were like, yeah.
I did mean it. Like, a part of me did mean it, yes.
In her mind, she's like, he's trying to fuck his feelings away. But at the same time, she got a crush on someone else.
Seriously, these boys are very petty and they're very silly. I really don't get Kuda and Kose in the sense that they are doing things that they know are going to upset their partners. And it makes you question, is it because they don't want to be in their relationships, or is it because they are looking for clout and they're trying to be sort of the faces of the show? Which is it? I don't get it. And I'm here for Sean standing on business and letting Pretty know that you cannot walk all over me the way you do Sia. I'm not Sia, not today. You need to sort of mind your P's and Q's. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Never Lies South Africa, Season 1, Episode 6. So we pick up from where we left with Lynn, and she is shown this clip. She said she was afraid that it was going to be distasteful, and it lived up to expectation because Kuda showed up and showed out, really, because the flirting, the fact that he was talking about them probably having sex, and the comment about his manhood in bed and him trying to be as close to, Star as possible in bed. Everything was just distasteful. The comments about the bikini, are you wearing anything underneath this? It was just too much. And it seems she as well, Star on her part, is starting to develop feelings. And I'm like, this guy is a charmer, because the girls that he's with, or the girls that are interested in him, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. And I wonder what's going on with him. Why are they finding him that attractive that they would sort of compromise themselves like that? I don't get it. Lynn is saying she deserves better. Do I think so? Yes, she does. Nobody deserves for their partner to come on TV and sort of be a jackass like that. No one at all. And so I get where she's coming from. And I hope once she sees him, she just doesn't go back to where they've been in the same little hamster wheel. They need to have a proper conversation and sort of iron out where they're going from here. Do they still want to continue as a couple, or is it time to call it quits? Because 7 years is a long time for someone not to want to commit or not to want to respect his partner, and she shouldn't continue to put up with that. Just when you think Kuda has gone low, Butlale says, hold my beer. I'm going to show you that I can go lower. Anyway, so you have, Nancy, they show a clip of her just reminiscing and just talking about the fact that she feels like she prioritizes everybody else but herself. And it's important that at this young age, she needs to be putting herself first before anyone else. And that's the truth, though. Before she has children of her own, she has grandchildren and whatever, she needs to prioritize herself. She needs to do what makes her happy before she can sort of tie herself to somebody else, get married, have children and whatever. So Nancy's first question is, does Butlale allow you to be fully yourself? She says no, and iDetector says it's a lie. iDetector says it's a lie, because you can actually see that she blinks after she says whatever response she says. And so he says he allows her to be herself, so he doesn't understand why, there would be any concern. They show a clip of Nancy when they were talking about sex, and she was talking about her ex and how good it was and every detail that she gave. And the question is, do you use sex to avoid the issues in your relationship with Butlale? She says no. The answer apparently is a lie. And Butlale is saying that, yes, it seems sex has become a very big part of their relationship, and he would want to have sex with his partner, but it's just that it's not happening. And he's asked why. He said, because I want someone to stimulate my mind. Well, he uses the F word. And he was asked, well, if you're saying your partner's not doing that, do you mean that Mia in 2 days had managed to do that? And he says yes. And it's the audacity to say it with his full chest. Everybody around him took a breath because they couldn't understand the nerve of him to open his top and bottom lip and say that. And he says, oh, we need to build our foundation. We need to, learn to communicate. And it's like, no, we are done. If I have been with you for a while now and you're telling me that I am not able to stimulate you, your mind doesn't feel stimulated enough to want to have sex with me, what's the point? Because Butlale and Nancy have been together for a while. So the idea that you would be dating her for a while and still not feel stimulated enough to want to sort of find her attractive enough to have sex with her, then this is the end of the road. They both need to move on and find their person, because they're not each other's person. They really are not. And so I don't understand the audacity for him to say, yes, I made a mistake. Yes, we need to move on. So if we're moving on, what happens every time you need sex? Are you going to find another Mia? What are you going to do? Because you say, I don't stimulate you. What are you going to do in that situation? I feel like they're done. She needs to pack her bags and leave. Next up is Clayton. Clayton got off easy. In my opinion, he got off easy because he deserved to go through it. Anyway, so you have Wilfred be asked 2 questions. Do you belittle Clayton? And he says no, and it's revealed it's the truth. And Wilfred actually put more money in the pot than everybody else because you have people like Nancy took out 20 rand, so that's amazing. The next question is, did Clinton's actions on the show make you reconsider proposing to him? And he said yes, and the lie detector said that's the truth. And so you have Clayton now sitting there and sort of questioning, oh yeah, I understand, how he feels because I've really made him work hard for this relationship and I actually need to pull my end. And Clayton is upset that Wilfred was flirting. And it's like, that's the purpose of the show. The producers would have been encouraging it because they need more information to make you feel some type of way. Otherwise, they wouldn't need you on the show. At the end of the day, the producers are there to produce a show, and the more toxic and dramatic it is, the better, because people are going to enjoy it. So I am here for it. Also, you had Wilfred say that he was planning on proposing to Clayton next year, but because of Clayton's actions, their lack of communication, their lack of trust, this is why he's taking a step back. I agree with that, because at the end of the day, Clayton cheated on Wilfred and Wilfred forgave him, and then he has the audacity to bring his little Instagram thingy on the show. No, I'm not buying that. And so he has to work hard. If anything, he has to work hard if he wants that ring. I stand with Wilfred. You can't propose to someone who's disrespecting you, someone who's not putting your feelings first. At the end of the day, he needs to earn your trust. Next up is Naledi. I am going to try and be as respectful as I can because I'm triggered on behalf of Nikki. And I don't even know what to say. Anyway, so you have Nikki be asked 2 questions. The first one is, do you resent Naledi for wanting to control your finances despite making less than you? She says no. And the eye detector says that's a lie. So that's a 10 grand gone. Our next question is, Naledi's fear of monogamy a potential deal breaker for you? She says no. And eye detector says that's a lie. So that's 20k gone down the drain. And so for the first clip, you have, Naledi saying that because Nikki is going on about her finances and the fact that she shouldn't have someone dictate to her what she does with her finances. At the end of the day, she's very upset that her child was discussed. This triggered her, someone discussing her child on the show, and she seems to have never been able to let go of that because every single time that's sort of her default function, she's always bringing it up. And I don't know how Naledi is going to be able to sort of redeem themselves from that situation. Then you have the next one about polyamory and monogamy, and I'm a bit confused because I don't get it. So is Nikki supposed to be in a monogamous relationship and Naledi be in a polyamorous relationship? Is that what they're saying? I don't get it, because you have Naledi saying that, polygamy over monogamy is potentially a deal breaker for me. And it's like, if you are going to want to be in a polyamorous relationship, then expect your partner to be the same. You can't expect your partner to just have you on your own and then you're busy out here doing whatever you want. That's unacceptable. Even everybody was taken aback when Naledi said, let's say I get married in 10 years down the line. I meet someone whose soul is tied to my soul. I can't move away from that. And it's like, so what's the purpose of getting married to me and committing to me? So I am committed to you. You might as well say you want a polygamous marriage then. Do it that way and see if I'm open to it. If I'm not, then that's it. Because at the end of the day, you can't go out there and find someone while I'm sitting here and waiting for you because your soul is tied to that person. Well, if your soul can move on and be tied to somebody else, so can mine. If not, let us move on and find people that want the same things that we want in a relationship. Nothing should tie us down. You can go and find people that want to be in a polyamorous relationship. I will go and find someone who wants to be in a monogamous relationship, and we'll both be happy. We really will both be happy. The other thing that triggered Naledi is the fact that Nikki said, oh, Kosi is handsome. And it's like, she's just complimenting him as a person. She's not saying, I want to climb him like a mountain. No, she didn't say she wants to do anything to him. She's just complimenting him and saying he's amazing. Yeah, he looks sexy, whatever. You did the same thing when you partnered. You and your partner were in the bedroom chilling and relaxing and flirting. So what's the difference? At least she's not flirting to his face. She's flirting with the girls in a conversation, not directly to him. So suck it up, buttercup. At this rate, no one is living in their couples. I swear, no one is living in their couples. Everybody's living single. Anyway, so next up is Munaka. We have 2 questions for Jose. His first question is, are you avoiding committing to Munaka because you're afraid of being hurt by her? He says yes, and that turns out to be the truth. At least he spoke his truth. The next one is, do you hide your relationship on social media because you see it as a fling? He said yes, and I Detector said it's the truth. And so it's really sad. It's really sad. I think I agree with Millie that this relationship is very toxic in the sense that she did whatever she did with Jordan, and Jose has just decided to pay her back for everything she did because it doesn't make sense. You see him have conversations with the girls. So he's having conversations with Lihle and Star, and they're sort of asking him questions about his relationship and why he does certain things. And he agrees that, he does hide his feelings because he doesn't want to be hurt by people. So to avoid people hurting him, he sort of hides his feelings away from them and never opens up because he doesn't want to deal with the heartbreak. They also ask him about cheating, and he says yes, he has cheated. And for me, the question is he talking about anything else, or does he mean when he slept with a friend? Because that could be it. That could be what he's talking about. And so for Munaka to turn around and say, oh, I feel some type of way, I don't want to throw a fit, and it's like, sadly, you live in a glass house. You threw the first rock. You can't say, no, don't break my glass because you started it. Had you not had the conversations you had with Jordan or behaved the way you behaved around Jordan, he wouldn't be justified in whatever he's doing. This is why I said some people were asking for extra footage because they wanted ammunition to use against their partner. And this is a typical situation whereby he can turn around and open page for page, or you did ABCD with Jordan, so why wasn't I allowed to do ABC with Star? The idea of him saying his relationship is a fling, I think it's because he's someone who doesn't want to commit to anyone and is afraid to get hurt. This is why he's decided to name his relationship as a fling, because he's been with Munaka for 9 months. And so you can't tell me a fling has lasted 9 months. That's not realistic. That's not being honest. And so I can't wait to see what actually happens when they are reunited and the conversations people are going to have. Everyone was devastated for Munaka. They really felt bad. And I don't know how she's going to feel, but it seems she's checked out. He, on his part, Jose has checked out as well. So it's really sad. After the ceremony, everybody returns to Philamhoha, and it's really sad because people are sort of reflecting on what they've seen and what they've heard from their partners' mouths. And so you have, I personally, this is the delusion of Buhlele. I don't understand what he says, oh, I'm looking for certain qualities in my partner. She uses sex as a guise to sort of, run away from her problems. And it's like, but you had sex with Mia, who you had only known for 2 days. Why did you do it? Did you have any emotional attachment to her? Or did you just do it because you were trying to get away from your problems? Or was it just because you felt an itch and you felt like you wanted to scratch it? It's the hypocrisy, the double standard. He needs to keep quiet because nothing he says can justify what he did. Whether or not his partner discussed her sex life or anything, it's not necessary. We don't need to hear you. You shouldn't be the loudest person in the room. You should be the quietest because you committed the ultimate sin at the end of the day. You have Sia. Sia is upset because he feels like his partner disrespected him. And he says, how can I expect anyone else to respect me if my partner disrespects me? I'm quiet. Just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm an idiot. And I get it. I really get it. He needs to say that to his partner. He really needs to say that to his partner. You shouldn't be saying it to the viewers. He needs to go and sit down with Pretty and tell her, just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I don't see what you do, doesn't mean I don't see what you say. Because apparently she's shown him pictures of her past and how large she was living. And it's like, if you were living that large and if you were such a baller, why did you step down? Why did you step down? Why didn't you stay where you were and do whatever you wanted to do? Make it make sense. With Lynn is upset She's upset because, she feels disrespected by Kuda and she wants to read her letter that she wrote to him. And I think she's getting to acceptance, to realizing that maybe this relationship is not it for me. Sadly, she's wasted 7 years in this relationship, but it might be time for her to pack up and leave, because there's no point in continuing to push for something that really is not working for you and that really is not working for your partner. Mnaka is so devastated. She's praying. Poor thing, she's praying because she's asking for spiritual guidance to continue on the journey. I think either way, whether or not you want to be with your partner, you need to continue the journey and see what else you can learn about yourself. And then when it's time to get off the merry-go-round, you step off and you keep it moving. Finally, someone has humbled Pretty. It seems Sean has humbled her, because I think for a very long time she's got away with sort of saying whatever she wants and saying, I'm just expressing myself. And so for Sean to not tolerate her nonsense, she had to speak to someone before going back to speak to Sean. And Sean said to her, you can communicate your feelings with someone without needing to shout. You really don't need it. So for the first time, I've actually seen her apologize. And it's like, well, you can actually apologize. I hope you also go on an apology tour as soon as Sia comes back, because the way you've treated him is unacceptable. So if nothing else, this has really been helpful for Pretty, because it has shown her that not everybody is going to tolerate what you dish, and you need to be careful and you need to treat your partner very well, because if you lose him, the next person you meet might not be as patient and sort of accommodating as Sia. And I hope she takes whatever she's learned from Sean and puts it into practice. You have Millie come back and she reveals that it's time for the singles to leave. And it's sad. It really is sad, because people become attached to new people. And so it's sad that, I feel like everybody else was able to make a connection, bar Nikki. That's the impression that I get, because everybody else was able to sit down with their partner and sort of discuss their journey and sort of move on from it. But Nikki, the way she sort of was standing away as though trying to distance herself from Tabeng, didn't make sense to me. And even when everyone else was hugging their partners, she just gave a fist bump and off she went. And it's like, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. I hope you learned something from this experience. Obviously, the two boys, Kuda and Jose, I don't think they learned anything apart from the fact that they want to meet up with their partners after this experience. That's the impression that I get, because they both told them, don't be strangers. And it's like, what do you mean don't be strangers? You've got a girlfriend. I was your pretend girlfriend. We're done. This was business. Let's keep it moving. So I wouldn't be surprised if they leave both their girls for the girls that they were with in the experiment. I wouldn't be surprised if they leave for Lindsay and Star. That I can foresee coming. Then, girl, from all you've seen, that should be enough lesson for you to say that this relationship is over. You don't need to continue to even try and see if there's anything else. This relationship is over. It's time for you to move on. Because Lynn is saying that if, when I sit down with Kuda, he says to me, he was being vindictive because he was upset that, of the things that he had seen during, her time with Wavizo, then she'd be okay to speaking to him, because she'd know she was speaking to a mature adult. But if he's not saying that, then she doesn't know where they can take this relationship. And it's like, this relationship is over. I don't get what else you need to see. This man has disrespected you. He knows you're going to see this because he saw your time with Vizo. So the idea that he kept asking for cuddles, the idea that he kept sleeping next to someone and making suggestive comments, I don't know what else you need from him. I don't know what else you need. This is the problem with staying in a relationship that's long term and it's not progressing anywhere. I think people need to learn after so many years that it's time to check out, because there's no point in continuing to stay in a relationship apart from the fact that you become more and more emotionally entangled with that person, and when the time comes you find it difficult to leave because you're so entangled up with the person and you can't see a way forward. Because this man, in my opinion, has really shown who he is by the things he has done. The fact that he's been flirting with somebody else knowing he's got a partner, the fact that he's continued to sort of make suggestive comments doesn't make sense to me. Even in his goodbye, it didn't make sense. Whereas you have back at Villa Majolo, you have Kuda showing off the shades that Star left for him, and he said, well, I might take them back to her when we get back, and I might take a toothbrush with me when I go, because she said to me, if I can end things with, or when things end with Len, then she's open to having conversations. And it's like, why did you get to that topic? why did you get to that topic? How did you get to that topic in the first place of you discussing whether or not your relationship would end? Does that mean the two of you discussed possibly starting something? I don't get it, and I'm so disgusted that he doesn't seem to have the bandwidth to know that some of the things that he's saying don't need to be said out loud, that you can think certain things and not need to voice every single thought that comes to your mind. The conversation between Wilfred and Pretty was quite enlightening in the sense that I don't feel like Wilfred has done anything wrong. I know Wilfred flirted a bit with his exchange partner, but still at the same time, it's nothing compared to what Clayton did. So the idea that you would be afraid that, oh, you know, this might be the end of my relationship because this has been brought up. No, that's someone who's just in self-protective mode and wanting to make you feel insecure about yourself. You don't need to worry. If Clayton wants to leave, the door's open it wider for him and allow him to go, because at the end of the day, he is the one in the wrong. He's the one who cheated. He's the one who brought, you know, his IG flirting partner onto the show. So you have no reason to feel upset. You have no reason to be afraid or to feel some type of way about yourself, because you are not the one at fault. As far as I'm concerned, obviously I'm not in the relationship, but that's just my opinion from what I've seen. You have Pretty saying that, you know, being with Sean has actually opened her eyes and has made her realize that she just doesn't need to say every single thought that comes out of her mind. She needs to be thoughtful of the things that she's saying to her partner, because it seems like this is the first time someone has set boundaries with her and has told her what is acceptable and what is not. And because of that, she's now thinking twice before she says anything. And it's like, hopefully, you know, you continue this once you meet Sia, because she says, oh, it's something I want to instill in Sia. And it's like, you make him seem like he's your project. You make him seem like he doesn't have a mind of his own. Allow him to grow on his own in this journey. You grow on your own, and the two of you meet up wherever you are. If you are still aligned, amazing. If not, part ways. So Millie comes to Philamohoho just for a final ceremony. So before the couples reunite, they are going to be shown their partners' reactions to them answering questions. And Sia, people feel some type of way about him because he has allowed himself, or he has allowed Pretty to walk all over him. Because you even have Nikki saying, why is he making himself out to be a victim, or why is he allowing himself to be a victim? Everybody, that's the question on their minds. Why is he allowing himself to be a victim? Is it because he's got nowhere else to go and she's the provider for him? What is it in particular is making him stay there with her? I don't get it. For Pretty to say, I've been working on my communication, I want to treat my partner better, I know there are issues that are there, and I know we need to work on them. And it's like, nah, the first thing you need to do is apologize. Grovel. Because she's saying, you know, Sia is a man, he's more than any well-built man that you could think of, he's more than any rich person you could think of. And it's like, well, if he's all that, why do you treat him as the scum of the earth? Why do you treat him as though he's beneath you and he's less than, and he should appreciate the fact that he's even breathing the same air as you? Next up is Nikki. Oh, I must have missed this. Apparently, Nikki was also into polyamory. So it's not like, you know, Naledi has just brought it out of the blue. So they were both in polyamorous relationships, but then one has decided to check out, whereas the other one is still in it. So that complicates things, and that makes it look totally different. Because if you have moved away from polyamory and you want to be in a monogamous relationship and you're happy for your partner to continue in that, then amazing for you. And I hope the two of you can sustain that. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I hope the two of you can sustain that, because I was looking at it. One is into polyamorous relationships and the other one is not. And so I was worried that the one will be sitting there and panicking every day thinking, oh, what if they find somebody else? But if you're telling me that you've both been in it, but you've checked out and the other person is in it and you're happy for them to be in it, then amazing for the two of you. Yes, the clip about the disrespect after, you know, Nikki was sort of saying she's considered having sex with someone else was something that touched, a nerve. And so this is what I think. I think Naledi knows that their partner will never leave them. Their partner will never look at anybody else. And so they're content with sort of that setup whereby one partner is monogamous. But I feel like being in a polyamorous relationship is a sense of power for Naledi, and this is why Naledi doesn't want to give it up. As much as Naledi wants to be in a monogamous relationship with Nikki, I feel like there is a potential that they can both be in a monogamous relationship, but one sees it as a sense of power, a sense of strength, and won't let it go unless they feel like they're on the same level power-wise, if you get what I mean. Next up is Wilfred. Wilfred gets to watch Clayton's reaction, and I feel like I'm surprised that Wilfred didn't say anything about the being stupid comment, because that was not necessary. That really was not necessary. That's very disrespectful to your partner. Yes, there were things that Wilfred did, like the lying that, oh, we're having sex, this, that, and the other. So you're saying you didn't want pillow talk. What did you expect them to do? To just go in and go lay down and fall asleep? Make it make sense. I feel like Clayton is projecting. Clayton knows that Clayton did way more than what Wilfred did during their partner swap. So the idea that you'd want to sort of put yourself on this pedestal and sort of look down on your partner doesn't make sense. I know Wilfred is saying that we need to talk, we will need to have communication and sort of set boundaries, because we never set boundaries with one another. When asked, do you feel threatened by the connection between Seymour and Clayton? Well, Wilfred is very vague. I wish they'd asked that on the lie detector, because that would have made more sense, because then they would have got the honest truth, because otherwise you're never going to get the truth. And I feel like there's some sort of fear that my partner could leave me. And do I feel it's warranted? Yes, I do. Because why would you bring someone you're flirting with in their DMs onto a TV show that you're on with your partner? That's more or less like bringing your sort of your crush to an event that you're having with your partner. Why would you do that? That means that there's more to that connection with Seymour. There's more to that sort of relationship or communication that's taking place that Wilfred needs to find out about. I'm here for Nancy. Nancy's standing on business, and I love it for my girl. I love it. Because next up is Nancy. So she gets to see a clip whereby Buhlele is watching her sort of talk about her sex life with her ex-partner and how amazing it was. And people are asking her, would you hook up with your ex? And she said, anytime, he's a phone call away. And you could see that his blood was boiling. He's upset. Oh, she's using sex for this. So you have Nancy say, I can stand up for myself. I am never going to do and say every single thing that he wants me to do. I have a mind of my own. I should be allowed to do what I want to do or say what I want to say without worrying about what my partner thinks. And Millie had to ask her that, okay, I want us to be honest. Let's be honest. When you said some of those things about your ex, did you do that on purpose so that you could make him feel some type of way? And she said, yes. Now he's angry. Now he's in his feelings. Now he's clutching his pearls. He's grabbing his teddy. He's worried. He's crying, oh, me, why me? I'm the victim. But at the end of the day, he brought this on himself. He brought it on himself by behaving the way he behaved. Had he respected her enough not to have sex with someone, Buhlele brought it on himself, and I have no empathy for him. And I love that she's at this stage whereby she's at acceptance. I remember I always say, I read it somewhere that when a woman is angry, even the devil takes notes. Well, Buhlele has to take notes because he started it, and now Nancy is walking into it, and she's about to do what she needs to do. And I'm happy for her. Hopefully she leaves him, because he disrespected her to the highest power. Could have disrespected Len, but he went further. So she needs to leave him. Okay, am I the only one who's thinking it? Am I the only one? Next up is Kuda. So Kuda, he's shown the clips that, that Lynn had to watch, and then the comments came up about mothering him and stuff, and she's saying this is why she checked out for the last 8 months. And he's saying, well, if you were checked out for the last 8 months, what are we doing here? Because at the end of the day, if you had checked out, we might as well just go home and continue on our separate journeys. And so his main grievance is the fact that she said she had a crush on Vizo. And it's like, seriously. So that's the reason why you behaved like a jackass and you're flirting and you're making all these inappropriate comments just because she said she had a crush on your friend. Did she act on it? No. Why didn't you talk to her and ask her, what do you mean you had a crush on my friend? You should use your voice and not behave like a little child and throw tantrums. So I don't get why he feels aggrieved and he feels upset. He says, well, he's asked, do you think there's any way forward? And he implies that no, there's no way forward because she's checked out for 8 months. And it's like, why did she check out is the reason. It's not that she checked out, but there has to be a reason why she checked out, and that's what you should be addressing. And the girls, I love the girls, because when he got back into the room, they teased him about saying, you know, no, that's my pee, and he's just sitting there smiling and saying, well, the focus should be on the fact that she said she checked out 8 months ago. And it's like, nah, you're looking for an excuse to justify your actions. I'm going to say it. These participants are very childish. I'm going to say it. They're very childish. 95% of them are very childish, and their egos are easily bruised. Last up, you have Nkwatse. And so Nkwatse is shown the videos of him having conversations with the girls in bed, and him saying that his relationship was a fling. Even his fellow sort of housemates are like, no, please say no, please say no. And he has the audacity to say yes. And so you have Millie ask him, so is your relationship, is it a fling or is it not a fling? And he says, well, I feel like partly a fling and partly not. And she said, no, be honest. And he said, well, I feel like, you know, maybe our relationship was just meant for us to just meet and connect for a bit and then move on. And it's like, why are you saying that? Why are you saying that? And he's saying it's because of some of the clips that I've seen. Okay, so everybody's in their feelings, and whoever was in Vila Mkhogo first and they saw whatever their partner did, they came to Vila Mjolo and tried to outdo their partner. That's the impression that I get. It was a tit for tat. It wasn't about growth or sort of learning new things about yourself. It was more, how can I make my partner feel as angry as I felt when I saw what they were doing? That's the impression that I get. And it's like, how long can you continue to do that if you're expecting to be in a successful relationship? Anyway, I can't wait for the next episode. I think it comes out on the 6th, so I will be reviewing that. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 5. Bye guys.